I wanted to start off with an overview of actually why, or kind of the motivations for this event, and sort of frame it a little bit. So the part of the reason why we put this together is that we believe privacy is becoming critical for all users of blockchains, especially with the increasing rise of DeFi and as things become more mainstream. But it's something which is often pushed as kind of secondary importance over sort of other priorities. And we really believe that it's critical for the success and adoption of blockchains. And in particular, in Cosmos, it's something which I think has been considered important for a while, but with other high priority components, in particular IBC, has sort of had a slightly secondary sort of role. But post Stargate, we really think there's an opportunity to set a very clear new mandate for Cosmos and signal as a community the importance of privacy in the future roadmap. And we see this event as being a sort of way to kick off discussions around that. Privacy, whether in the form of private transactions or other ways, can be a major differentiator of Cosmos. And there are actually many teams already working on privacy applications or using zero-knowledge proofs in this ecosystem. And what we want to do here is really give a chance to showcase that and get the discussions going about what other opportunities are available to really make sure that Cosmos can differentiate itself and sort of leverage its unique position around privacy. So the agenda today is going to be starting off with an introduction about ZK Validator, what we do, and what we're doing in Cosmos, and then a quick sort of intro also from the ICF, and Billy has kindly sponsored this event. And then we're going to move on to a talk by Zaki about some of the kind of missing public goods in the Cosmos privacy ecosystem and how potentially those could be overcome. And then we're going to have a showcase of 3 new privacy projects who are all working in Cosmos ecosystem. And these are actually sort of being built by some really well-known members of the Cosmos ecosystem. And so it's very exciting. And we're going to hear all about those later. And then that'll be followed with a panel about what's missing for privacy and ZKPs in Cosmos. And there'll be a chance to ask questions and really drill down into those topics. And finally, we're going to have a networking and breakout session. This is going to be a slightly different format. And we're actually sort of trying this out. It's going to be very casual, but anyone can create their own breakout session. There will be one also organized by ZK Validator, where we're going to discuss some of the topics related to actually validation in Cosmos. But feel free to sort of start thinking about a topic that you might want to create a breakout session for. And at the end, you'll be able to create that, and anyone can join your room and discuss. So it should be good fun. So I'm now going to quickly sort of move on to the introduction, since we're a little bit pressed for time. And to start off, maybe slightly wrong slide. To start off, just to introduce who we are. So ZK Validator is an advocate for privacy at every level in the ecosystems we work in. We're present in Cosmos. We're running a validator, and we're supporting teams in various ways. And our primary mission really is to make sure that we represent the kind of voice of the community in advocating for the importance of privacy. And we're a relatively small team. There are 3 of us who are on the event today. And I'm Will. I'm also the founder of Diversify, which is a layer 2 exchange on Ethereum, which uses ZK Starks to settle trades with a much greater throughput than Ethereum is capable of natively. And I co-founded ZK Validator with Anna, who's the founder of the Zero Knowledge podcast, which I'm sure many of you will be familiar with and may have listened to, as well as ZK Summit, ZK Sessions, ZK Study Group. The list goes on. I think you get the idea. And we also have on our team Tor, who is working at the Ethereum Foundation in applied ZKPs. There'll be a chance to discuss on that later. So together we're active across many different blockchains, running validators. Cosmos was actually the one that we started on earliest in late 2019. And we draft and champion proposals, advocate for privacy at every level, from developers, researchers, and community, and act as a bridge often between teams that may be working on things with researchers who are deep into zero-knowledge proofs. And we're also launching many initiatives around governance and events like this one, where we help to educate and promote sort of knowledge and experience about zero knowledge proofs. And so with that, I'm going to hand you over to Anna, who's going to talk more about the event. And you're muted, Anna.
I know, got it. So I want to share a little bit about the goals that we have with this particular event. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to definitely introduce ourselves, the Zero Knowledge Validator, to the wider Cosmos community. We realized that, back, I think about a year ago, we did a baseline report, but since then we haven't been as active as we want to be. And I think this event shows or starts that initiative that we want to become a little bit more present in the Cosmos ecosystem. We want to be known as, like, if there are privacy projects, we want people to definitely know to get in touch with us. This event is also going to be very exciting for me personally, because I'm very excited to learn about these 3 showcase privacy projects. It's people I know, and I actually don't know the details of what they're working on. And so I really am looking forward to jumping in with all of you to learn about this. I think we also want to use this time to kind of gauge the sentiment about privacy in this ecosystem. So over the past week, there was a little bit of conversation in the validator community around whether or not privacy is something that the Cosmos ecosystem should want. I think there are some people who definitely very much want to see privacy, and others who are a little bit wary of it. And I think this is exactly the conversation that should be started. And I think that, I hope that out of this event, some people go away from it with a bit of a better understanding about where privacy could exist, and also where there are still some challenges. I also think I want to find out how the particular kind of construction of IBC, how Cosmos is built, potentially offers new opportunities for privacy, that other blockchains may not have. I think that is something that I think it would be very cool to find out through these kinds of events. Now, I want to share one thing that we have kind of going. We have a pre-proposal for a Cosmos Hub proposal. And one thing that we want to do is basically create a series of events like this one, 3 online, doing one of these every quarter, and also potentially a in-person live event when we can. And this is something we thought potentially could be a Cosmos Hub proposal, but we want to hear from you if it makes sense that we approach it in this way. The reason being is we can always do these events by finding sponsors and doing them in the traditional sense. But if this really is a conversation around Cosmos and privacy, we thought it might also make sense for this to be somewhat publicly funded. So we don't have to necessarily do the sponsorship route, but rather have this be part of the kind of entire Cosmos initiative. So yeah, at the end of this event, we're actually going to be doing a session, and this is a place where we could potentially talk a little bit more about this. Other initiatives, now these are more like meta initiatives. These are sort of blockchain. We want to this year, this is not set in stone, but this is something that we'd really like to see happen, is we want to do a ZK hackathon where you actually get to build sort of ZK prototypes and start working with the tools. I think the space has evolved enough and developed enough that now we could potentially do it. And so that's a wish. And another project that we are just starting to work on is trying to create a report around the legal ramifications of privacy tech, because I think the unknowns are actually blocking teams from pushing this forward faster. And so this is something we're just starting to put together. If either of these are interesting, just get in touch with us. Yeah, and I think with that, I want to say I have the podcast, and actually the videos from this event are going to end up on the podcast YouTube channel. We thought instead of starting a new YouTube channel, there is a YouTube channel. So the Zero Knowledge Podcast is the media partner to this. And I now want to introduce Billy and say thank you. Billy's from the Interchain Foundation, and they also supported this event. So Billy, you're muted and no video. Oh, and I'll bring that back. So if you want to jump on, now would be a great time.
Thanks very much. In light of today being a privacy themed event, I will now reveal my private face by selling it to a proprietary company who's now mapping out my facial features instead of exposing it to you all, where the real danger of privacy is. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Billy. I work at the Interchain Foundation. I was really excited when Anna told me that this event was happening. It seemed like it was just like last week or something, and I was excited that we were able to put some support behind it. The projects today are all really cutting edge. I only heard about like half of them this week myself. It's one of my sort of favorite things about this ecosystem. People somehow just show up and they've built a blockchain. I should give the required sort of status updates that I think are really exciting around the ecosystem in case you aren't informed. Next Monday, token transfers are being enabled for IBC. So if you are coming from ETH world and you're starting to see more of these like bridge interfaces, you know, MetaMask just enabled the ability for dApps to target a chain ID and a node ID. So I feel like a lot of Ethereans are just starting to understand that this sort of like multiple chain reality is happening. It's not going to be going away, but we'll finally start to get to see some networks which were built specifically for this feature set. You know, what does it look like when a chain is designed to be bridged between other chains? You know, IBC is that. It's basically a bridge in a box, or a bridge in a shipping container if you subscribe to Sunny's metaphors. Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for the rest of this talks. I'm really excited. And the other thing, again, is just I'm from the Interchain Foundation. You know, we're designed specifically to support new technologies. So if you're watching this and you're looking for funding, support for your new project, your great idea, your important work, talk to me. I'm easily excitable. Tell me why you're excited to work on what you're doing, and we'll see if we can throw some fuel on that fire.
Cool. Thanks so much, Billy. And you look really awesome as a little moon. All right.